Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Nordic Champions, coming to you from the Monster Energy DreamHack Studios. My name is Hitprain, and once again, I'm joined by Orcs. We just had a pretty solid game one to start this tournament out.
Yeah, Singularity showing a solid performance and why they are pegged as one of our top teams. Hybrid, good effort. They kept up in the early game, but just there was that point where things just fell apart. They overcommitted, and there was a great flank and team fight coming out from Singularity.
Yeah, it was just a really good game. We had a big breakdown on that on the post of the last game. So let's move on to our second game of the day. I'm really excited to get going at this one. I've already forgotten it because I've misplaced my notes.
Nordavind against Dusty.
Nordavind versus Dusty. Okay, so how are we kind of faring these teams? You were talking about Nordavind as a team that you had your eye on coming into this game. And Dusty actually are a full Icelandic team, am I right?
They're an Icelandic team. Not all the players are Icelandic.
Yes.
3 out of 5 are. But
3 out of 5. That's quite a lot.
Org.
Well, there's only 362,000 people in Iceland, so that's actually quite a lot of people.
Quite a lot of people compared to
comparatively, yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I feel like Dusty are a solid team altogether. I think they've got Quinstance in the top lane. They've got only 35 in the bot lane as a support. Both strong players, but I think the rest of the roster, pretty strong players. I think particularly their mid laner Legions has shown a diverse champion pool. Whenever there's anything that's new and up and coming and fresh, he's instantly there to pick it up. So things like the Lucian being flexed to different lanes, he will instantly start practicing that and be able to play it in competitive. So they can definitely bring out some spicy things. We've seen the LEC, the Soraka in top lane. It has been flexed to other roles as well in solo queue. So we could see something like that come out. I think for the most part, though, Nordavind would typically be favored, but they are running with a sub today. So they're running Svene in the support role instead of Advien. Advien, probably one of, if not the best support currently in the Nordic Championship. And Svene is a top laner. So
okay. So a little bit of flexibility, but you know, life happens. Sometimes you have stuff
maybe
out.
it's strategical.
Yeah, maybe it's to catch them off guard. Maybe this Soraka top we've been practicing is actually for Soraka bot.
Exactly. Maybe Svene's just played 1,000 games of Soraka top lane. And now he's like, I'm so good at
basically the same, right?
Put me any role. I'll play Soraka
when he starts farming.
Role. And that's when Dusty ban it. And they're like, oh, never. Can we sub him out? Can we sub him out?
We'll have to see. I hope we get to pick some bans nice and quick so we can actually see what we're going to, or like what's going to be going up against each other on this game. Because, you know, for me and you especially, like we've been seeing a lot of these players in the Nordic Championship in the likes of EU Masters. Some of them even have been playing in, you know, our home region of the UKLC. But, you know, there's a few players who we're still kind of learning about. We've obviously spoken to people and we're kind of absorbing knowledge, but, you know, watching them in action is the key way to kind of, you know, really for yourself pull a judge on where you think these teams are going to place. So far, Singularity are the best team in the region.
I mean, they're top of the leaderboard.
They're
right
literally
now.
top of the lead. They're actually the best Nordic team. Pack it up, guys. We're going home.
Yep. The rest of you just unlucky, but
yeah, you didn't get to go first.
I think for this one, it is going to be closer because, I mean, it wasn't exactly a one-sided game previously. There was that point where it just tipped over.
Yeah.
But for a lot of it was kept pretty even. I think this one is going to be closer, though. Dusty, I was speaking to that coach earlier, and he said they have a lot prepared. They're confident in this matchup against Nordavind. And I think the substitution to Svene is obviously going to hurt Nordavind not having their full starting roster. So I think there's definitely some avenues by which they can find advantages. And I think solo lanes are where I'm looking. I do think that unlocking the solo lanes is going to come down to jungle and support. But I'm looking for them to find a lead around Legions and Quinstance and potentially snowball that into something more.
Yeah, we're going to have to see. Obviously, do you think we're going to see Quinn top?
No.
I'm looking at the notes. I'm like, yeah, there's Quinn top in there.
I mean, his name's Coincidence.
Yeah, obviously.
And he used to be a Quinn 1 trick pony.
Yeah.
But he isn't anymore.
But he's grown as a player.
Yes, he's developed. He's improved. Unlike you, who is still hard stuck.
I mean, no, yeah, I am. I'm pretty hard stuck.
You know what's so me and Jake are staying in Stockholm, obviously, for the time being. And the first thing he said to me is he was like, hey, dude, you can boost me to gold. That was the first thing he said to me.
It was really rough placements, all right. It was some serious...
Where did you get placed?
I got a silver 4. I went from gold 2 to silver 4. It was really, really rough. I've skipped a division. I'm actually climbing fairly quick, but oh, Lord, this is it's been rough. And, you know, you've hit D Diamond. That's as far as you're ever going to get. Let's...
Not true, but moving on. Getting into draft. So Cassiopeia being banned away from Hybrid. Obviously, a lot of power in that as a flex pick. And the Akali, we saw this as a first ban on the red side in the previous match. And they banned it away from Zveni themselves, the Soraka.
Yeah.
But ultimately, that pick, I expect to see it banned consistently, not only just because it's very powerful, but also it's very new. Teams haven't really had a chance to adapt and pick up how to deal with it yet. So it's likely just going to remain as a blue side ban until some team is daring enough to let it go open if they prepared a strategy. Rumble, again, makes a lot of sense. These flex picks are such a concern because even if you necessarily have an individual lane counter, there's no guarantee you'll end up being able to go up against them.
Well, that's going to be the Rise taken away here. One more ban here for the side of Dusty, as our graphic in the top is actually a little off. So don't worry, it's not Singularity versus Hybrid again.
You don't spell Dusty with an S. Well, not on the front. It's halfway through.
That'd be a really weird letter to use as your kind of like logo is. It's the one in the middle.
Yeah, Syndra coming through. That's just complete flexes in the bans and then an instant lock-in off the center. So Chris Big is a player, I remember when Kai'Sa was released, he was instantly on the Kai'Sa hype train. He was like, pick me that in any situation, first pick me, I am confident. He is a sort of player that when he believes there's a lot of strength in AD carry, as there absolutely is in center, he will just say, first pick me that. I am confident I can carry on it, despite the fact he has a top lane as a support. So a lot of faith in Zveni, that's what I'm saying.
Well, we are seeing the Aphelios get picked up, double new AD carries in this game. I expect to see a lot of the Aphelios in the kind of center for the next few kind of weeks until we start to see some of those numbers get toned down a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting we're not seeing any bans thrown towards them because, I mean, we've seen a lot of flex pick bans throughout the other roles. I think that's one of the big things is that now that Aphelios or Senna is flexed, I guess Senna you can play support, but at the moment she's just not played in support in our pro play. So they're just essentially leaving those open as at least when the Senna's picked, you know where it's going. Lee Sin now locked in for Sosa. So we're looking over the side of Nordavind to see what they're going to respond with. I think support matchup is going to be a massive thing. I think potentially if you take the Tahm Kench, it gives a lot of safety, but instead of opting for the Braum, I think
also safety.
Tahm Kench and Braum are the two picks that you want to put in tandem with a setter. One of the big things is that your Q applies on hit effects. So you can actually proc the Braum passive with your Q. So it's very easy. If Braum Qs autos, you can auto Q so fast, and that's an instant stun. The Jarvan as well, it's not the greatest matchup in Lee Sin in terms of the isolated 1v1. Hard to land the EQ combo with his mobility, but great against Aphelios because obviously a mobile AD carry.
Yeah.
And Leona going to come in as the response.
Alrighty, well, let's see what Dusty decide to ban away here.
So I think at this point, very, very intense music. I'm loving it. I think there's a lot of flex already taken off the table. Lucian is still open as an option, as a flex that it can go mid or top.
Yeah.
I feel like that might well be more favorable towards Dusty because they can pick that and flex it, or alternatively, they can last pick it after seeing what Nordavind take. Orianna going to come out, which is typically a pretty safe mid laner that you can pick blindable into various matchups. So we're going to see what Nordavind's response is to that. Obviously, for Dusty, they have the counter pick if they want it, and that's why the Fiora ban is going to come away. Typically a good matchup into things like the Aatrox, which is a pretty common option, so denying that potential for Quinston to become a late game split push threat.
Well, 14 seconds. Dusty definitely thinking about these bans. They're really drawing this phase out, kind of deciding what's going to be best to ban versus Nordavind and where they want to do. Yeah, maybe they just know and they're just getting in their head like, come on, ban. That's going to be the Ornn. Pretty standard ban as well. Very staple, very comfortable top lane.
Flex.
We did also see it go mid, recently with Nemesis and Fnatic taking that mid. Is anyone else taking it mid recently?
Not that I've seen. Some of my
I don't think we're going to see a Rengar though.
No, I don't think so. So now
I'd like a Rengar.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. LeBlanc works because she's a functional blind that you can take in this situation for Dusty, but you can also use it as a counter pick as the last pick once you've seen what Knight has taken. So Dusty going to deliberate what they want to take as a blind. Flex is still available, would potentially be that Lucian, would be the Mordekaiser, although that's more leaning towards the top lane. Could take that Aatrox as well, or even the Set. It depends which lane they want to go for. And actually going for the Victor. So technically a flex, although we haven't seen as much Victor top recently.
Yeah.
Likely this going towards Legions. It's an interesting blind because it's not necessarily the safest pick. This sort of says to me that with the bans that have been used up that are available, he feels confident. But a big thing for me is Kiana is available. And if you play Kiana Jarvan into Victor as an immobile mid laner, there's a lot you can do to punish that. And particularly for Hoyes on this Aphelios, you could definitely look to make life hell for him. We're actually seeing the Diana come out. So not the Kiana, but similarly an assassin mid that can definitely put the hurt down on these immobile carries. Now for Nordavind to solidify what they're playing top for Weasel.
Final lock-in here. There are still a few options available to them. One very comfortable one as well is going to be that Aatrox. Are they going to lock that in? It looks like it's probably the best thing to round out what they've built so far. Weasel's going to get his hands onto that. And Dusty, what is going to be Coincidence's counterpick? What is his options here? Thinking about what they want to run. Remember that Victor still could technically go top. It's been a while since we've seen that kind of Iceborne top lane Victor, especially with the fact that Kleptomancy's been changed and you can't just farm free gold from auto-attacking here. So you can actually
take Quinn here. Like, I know we were joking about it, but you can actually take it if you want to split push. Looks like in the end, they are still going to take a split push. And I think that's the thing, is that they know what's going in the top lane, but not going for the Quinn, instead going for that Yorick. If you trap the Aatrox inside, once he's already used his dash, obviously he no longer has 2 charges of it. So you can just end up beating on him. And the Aatrox is never going to win against the Yorick when he has his ultimate up and available.
Yeah.
It just kind of turns it into a 2v1. And it's pretty effective at playing weak side as well, because if he has that available, it's hard to pressure him. But it sort of depends on how Dusty want to play this game. I think there's definitely setup in all 3 lanes, with the limitations of Naita being on a melee mid laner. Sosa can dictate this early game pretty effectively. The question is going to be is how Aesthetic holds up in that regard. It's going to be very much which jungler can make the most momentum happen in the early stages.
It's very much the point of, you know, the kind of state of the game is how a lot of people play it is for that early momentum. Both of these junglers have good options and good capabilities of getting that gank. Obviously, Jarvan realistically would like, you know, well, actually, yeah, he'd like level 2. I guess Lee Sin would as well, but he has more capabilities because he can gap close at level 1. If you're ganking at level 1 as a jungler, you're not jungling right, though.
Well, I think a big thing for me is there's definitely potential for a level 1 invade to come out from the side of Nordavind with that Braum. Something you always got to talk about. The Braum pick just enables you to push into the enemy jungle, establish control, and just take some vision and potentially push them out their own side of the jungle. I think in terms of setup in the later stages, my concern for the side of Dusty is that they have these 2 immobile carries and they're up against a lot of engage, a lot of follow-up. If Jarvan Cataclysm's on top of them, if they fall too far behind, there's potential just to tower dive them. I think that's the big concern for me. And they may end up just relying on Coinstance on this Yorick as a win condition later on. But if these carries can get ahead, Victor scales extremely well.
And we've seen a rise in the Senna taking Glacial Augment. That is what Chris Berg's opting into. We're taken to the Rift for game number 2 of the Nordic Championships. Nordavind versus Dusty. And no invade coming down here, actually. They're not going to use that Braum and the concussive blows. They're going to put that defensive line of scrimmage up along the river.
But always potential for an elite invade is the thing you got to be concerned about. But for now, doesn't look like it's necessarily going to come from it. I think that's my big concern. If Dusty can get to the later stages and keep their carries enabled, they have the win condition in the side lane. They have good wave clear on the Victor. But I feel like if a team fight starts off in the wrong position, Nordavind will just be able to steamroll it. If they can get on top of those carries, the Aphelios, the Victor, it's going to be very difficult. For the most part, you just want to fight front to back if you're on Dusty, because you can just establish so much control. When the front line all stacked together, the ultimate from the Aphelios is so potent. But in the early stages, both junglers are going to be able to impact the map, and I think it's going to be watching them, their pathing, and how they dictate things. So on the opposite sides of the map, both of the red buff, it will give a better leash over the Aesthetic. And there's no leash actually going over the Sosa on the Lee. Although the disadvantage this is given is Vene and Crisp are going to be late to lane. So a little bit more setup by Hoyes and only 35. They've actually denied a minion here. So they froze the lane, aggroed it, and they ended up denying a minion. The reason this is important is it means Nordavind are going to hit level 2 in the bot lane just that much later.
Already?
The second wave. Aesthetic.
Just forcing Legions out of the lane, but not really going to find much more there. I thought he was going to go for at least a blue side invade, but I think he thought better of it. decided to head over to his blue side. Doesn't want to kind of give up.
The big reason you can't blue side invade here is because of the priority bot lane. You'll see Hoisin only 35. After these 2 melee minions go down, we'll hit level 2. They have the lane shoved in. If you get caught out invading Dusty's blue buff, then you just move over and you're almost certainly going to die.
Well, for now, this push is going to be set up for Dusty here. See on the top side, though, there's a solid push for Wiesel versus Coincidence.
Very interesting path coming out from Ace today. I think his plan was just to get a level 2 gank off mid. It's something you can do on the Jarvan. You have that CC available. But if you look the way he's gone, he went straight from red buff to blue buff to his Gromp, and now he's trying to invade the jungle of Dusty. I think he's actually trying to go for another gank mid over the wall. This is very risky this close to the tower, though.
Yeah, Legion's just hovering on the other side of the map as well, of the lane. He just wants to be on that other side. See, Niter is just going to put his shield up, and that's going to be the flag drag. The knock-up is going to come down. Niter does have that Lunar Rush, but he takes a tower shot for his troubles, and Legion burns his flash, but he's going to force Niter out of lane.
Yeah, but Niter has teleport. The wave is pushed up, so he likely won't even need to use it. The critical thing is the flash went down from Legion, so that is now going to be a punishable aspect. That we want to watch consistently Aesthetic applying pressure to mid lane. Because if he manages to find another gank, Legion will likely go down. But also, it means he has to play with a bit more respect. TP actually came in from Niter, and Sosha's just going to help Legions get the recall. He's still here, so they'll shove the wave in. Legions will be able to get a reset off that, but Niter actually going to go for the freeze.
Yeah, he knows he has his jungler with him. Aesthetic is going to take a kick. He holds the flag and drag. Sosa is low. That's going to be the knock-up for the flash, and first blood for Niter. Legions does turn it around. He has got a blue buff apiece here. Niter lands the Crescent Blade, but doesn't.
There's a nice play to get the knock-up and follow up with a flash from Aesthetic, but it did leave him vulnerable to Legion's damage. Overall, a 1-for-1 trade, and the blue buff going to Legions means he's pretty okay just to shove this wave out. Only 35 is turned up to help him. They want to shove this one into the tower with the use of that laser, and then Legions can get his reset. Overall, I'd actually say this is pretty favorable to Dusty. The fact that Legions had no flash and they managed to trade 1-3-1, you absolutely take that.
Question is Fetic going to continue to try and gank this mid lane of the map?
I don't think you necessarily have to. It's definitely a good thing to do when someone's flashless to put pressure on them. But at the same time, just by denying that flash away from Legions, it means he's not going to feel as safe pushing up in the lane. You can then, quite a lot of damage coming in on Svene.
He's taking a lot of damage. Just get a heal up there from Chris Berg with a Q.
So powerful. I think that's one of the biggest things about Senna. Not only is the damage pretty ridiculous, but the healing so significant to keep your Braum safe as well as Braum keeping you safe. Only 35 trying to stop any recalls coming out here, but won't be able to find them. And right now, Sosa just trying to get control off the bot side river. So Nordavind's bot lane are on a reset. So Aesthetic, he's gone very aggressive here. This is a little risky, but it looks like no one from Dusty's sensed out. And with only 35 going for a reset now, Nordavind are going to have tempo advantage. What I mean by that is you can see Svene walking up on the minimap towards the dragon. He's going to be there first before only 35 is. They can get control of the vision because they know they will have a numbers advantage. For now, Aesthetic looking towards mid lane.
He's itching to make this happen. Legions does hit 6, and Sosa also makes his way up. So once again, every time Aesthetic tries to make a gank happen in this mid lane, it is just read perfectly by Sosa.
And honestly, I got to give so much credit to Legions. He's flashless on a Victor against Jarvan and a Diana. This is not a fun situation to be in. But he's doing well. He's playing competently. He's not getting threatened anymore, and he's managing to keep up in CS. So credit to him. He's been put in a difficult situation, and he's handling it well.
He is indeed, but we'll have to see how he can continue to handle it as this game goes on. He picked himself up a needlessly large rod on that base. So he has a lot of additional ability power to him, where Niter is now running around with those magic pen boots. He also does have double Dorans, so kind of playing for a bit of an early spike, an early burst of damage in this Diana. He wants to find his assassinations off. And once he's got that Lunar Rush, which is now up for him, I have to see what he can make happen here. As Wiesel actually getting ganked here by Sosa, gets slowed down by the crippling strikes. Gonna get a lot of damage off here. Wiesel gets the passive auto attack off for a nice chunk of heal. He's just gonna get himself a base off.
Doesn't even burn the flash, so pretty solid from Weasel to avoid that one. There's a nice attempt, but with no kick, there wasn't that much threat coming in from Dusty. But the critical thing is the TP advantage. Quinstance already has the TP advantage in this matchup, so Weasel, he's unable to go for a recall here. But fortunately, he is high enough health. There's no vision right now on Aesthetic, so they're not comfortable to go for the dive. But Aesthetic, he has information. He's seen where Sosa is on the top side, so he's trying to get some control on the bot side of the road, picked up by Skull. But once again, no surprises where he's putting the attention toward. He has been hard camping this mid lane, trying to shut down Legions on this Victor. And really, I mean, you look at the mid lane, even in CS, even in kills, he's not done a very good job.
And now he just gets spotted out. He looks for the gank here. Does have the ultimate available, but then he misses out on that Winter's Bite, and there is just no options to go there.
Flash had already been burned by Hoy, so that was the attempt to try and get the ultimate onto him, but unsuccessful. And now, critically, Legions, there's a couple of seconds before his flash is back up.
Oh, that's the flash. That's the Lunar Rush. He puts down the gravity field to pin them in place. Ulti comes out by center, and Niter gets himself the kill. They try to cook him alive with the Victor Toaster, but it's not enough. Meanwhile, in this bot side of the map, Only's taking a little bit of damage. The Ignite's already been used. The Winter's Bite is there. Getting that slows off in time. Chrisberg underneath the tower is going to get pinned, and now we have a quick pause in the middle of the fight.
Yeah, a little bit of a pause there. Some technical issues, I presume. Solid play, I gotta say, on the top side by Aesthetic going towards mid. There was literally a couple of seconds on that play there before the flash came up from Legions. And we have just seen that it was a DC, a disconnect from Only 35, resulting in that. Or maybe he's just trying to save face because he died.
He just ult F4'd as soon as he got caught there.
Yeah, but sometimes that happens, unfortunate, but we'll take more note of the mid lane play. And I think I was literally just tracking for the flash to come up. It was a couple of seconds away. The timer must have been very good from Nordavind, and it was just before it was available, and they managed to take him out. So solid play. It does not make that much of a difference, to be honest, because now the flash is available for Legions. He's in a pretty comfortable position. Yes, he's died there, but he's still going to be able to wave clear pretty effectively at this point. The Victor's completely happy. So a nice play. I think the bot lane play not necessarily going to drastically change things either, although there has been a bit of a CS lead built up by Chrisberg. So showing him that potency on that center, a pick that's very hard to shove out of lane and a lot of poking power.
We see the pickaxe as well first picked up for him. So, you know, a lot of most centers as their first item will take the Manamune. He goes for the pickaxe because he obviously wants that early burst of damage. He isn't too worried about his mana consumption in this earlier phase of the game. Obviously, it does slow down the stacking of the Manamune, but obviously that burst of damage was enough to get him that kill, and now he's 1-0-1 on the center.
I think one of the big things with the Manamune at the moment is that it's not even about having it fully stacked. It's about the AD it gives, because even when you buy it, it's 35 AD since the buffs we had a while ago. Coupled with the percentage mana exchange, especially when centers will run biscuits, which give an extra 150. They'll run presence of mind, which when you've got the kills for it will give a total of 500. Right now it's only 200. But just that extra percentage converted into AD, it gives a lot of AD for such a cheap item. So even if it's not instantly stacked up, Chrisberg is going to get a lot of AD, which he scales extremely well with.
Yeah, this is what we like to see. We'll be hopefully loading into the game real quick. We're just trying to iron out these late problems in the game. But as we can see, Aesthetic has been playing early jungle aggressively, while Sosa has been playing more reactively. He's done a good job of shutting down everything Aesthetics wanted to do on this Jarvan, but eventually, you keep throwing it at the wall, you're eventually going to make it stick. And he is able to find that kill in the mid lane onto Legions. What does this cost them, though? That's what I'm asking. You can see on the map at the moment, and just in the pause screen, that Sosa is in the mid lane, so he's going to catch that wave. So that gold isn't just kind of going to the wind. It is at least going into someone on the side of Dusty. And
I mean, the big thing is that you've been the Flash on Niter, which they used to set that up so well. Flash is still available for Legions. He's in a comfortable position. This doesn't really set him behind too massively. I think, honestly, this side of Dusty are comfortable just scaling up to a point where they're stronger. They want the Victor to come online. They want Quinstance to be strong in the 1v1 matchup. He's been finding advantages, and he has the TP advantage. So I think they're pretty comfortable in this situation just to let things go further on.
Well, it looks like we will be loading through into the game nice and quick. So actually, just to give you a little bit of play-by-play what happened there, Zvene used his ultimate, and everyone walked away. So they just found that one kill in the bot side of the map, and then we have a pause again.
Yeah, it looks like the technical issues still persisting. Only 35, struggling with his connection at the moment. So, I mean, we can take another stock of the game, sort of look at what win conditions are, or I can ask you, Jake, what's your ideal Sunday?
What's my ideal Sunday? Well, being in Sweden with you, casting the Nordic champion. That's such a such a bait answer. I don't know. What's your ideal Sunday? Mine's
quite a laid-back Sunday, you know.
Yeah.
I like a good old Sunday roast.
Yeah.
Yeah, just chill with the family, have one of that, hang out with my cats.
I probably get up nice and early on a Sunday, like 8 o'clock, early start, on a nice bike ride, get back, have a shower.
Okay, I can instantly say this is just lies.
Have a shower.
You've never woken up at 8 o'clock in your life.
I did that yesterday, actually, and I went on a bike ride. I had my Sunday on Saturday.
No, don't believe it.
I
do not believe
I
it.
don't have pictures to prove it
I
because
want
I didn't take my phone.
video evidence. Evidence.
You know what? Actually, we had a little app at Tracked. We did 14 miles in an hour and a half.
You can spoof the IP.
I can show you our track.
It can be fake. It can be fake.
But yeah,
until I personally with my own eyes.
What I was missing.
Until I see with my own eyes, you wake up at 8 a.m.
Come over on a Sunday. We'll get up at 8 o'clock. We'll have a bike ride in the morning.
Where'd you go on your bike ride? There's nice scenery.
Yeah, because I'm in the countryside. So I don't go on the road because I don't like road biking. Actually, in Sweden they've got bike lanes, which is really cool. Like a lot of like countries in Central Europe have like bike lanes, so the cyclists aren't in danger.
Not the UK.
In the UK, you cycle on the road, and if you get hit by a car, it's kind of your fault. So I have a mountain bike because I live in the countryside, so we go off-roading. It's great. It's really cool. I live in like a really pretty area. Then I come home, have a shower, and then a Sunday roast, and the rest of the day just chill. Maybe watch some of the games I missed from LEC, because you don't always get to watch them all.
LEC doesn't actually air on a Sunday.
Yeah, no, you watch the ones you missed.
But you don't watch it on a Saturday?
No, it's actually the Friday I miss.
But we are back in the game, so you can hear more about our perfect Sundays later
over at my blog, hitbrain.com.
Yeah,
it's not an IP, please.
I'll be making a 1 hour 40-minute video about my perfect Sunday later, so you can catch that. But for now, we'll get back into games. So just to recap what we missed, well, not what we missed, but what happened just before the break. Niter flashed to get a kill on a Legion just before his flash became available. Managed to punish him, and only 35 disconnected in the bot lane, which resulted in Chrisberg getting a kill. So, only 1,000 in the favor of Nordavind, but the game definitely not out of the control of Dusty. A big reset just came in. If you look, you can see Jarvan, Braum, and Senna all coming back in on the map. This gave Dusty a little bit of an opportunity to get vision control, but they're quickly backing off. Sosa is going towards the top side to clear his camps. This means that Svene can come in and clear some wards around the dragon. I think they might just start up this mountain. No, they're going to hold on a little longer, potentially looking for some more control.
I like that we've got the break music, like playing, just adding a bit of drama, suspense to this 10-minute mark in the game. As Aesthetic is going to use the flag, and now it looks like they're just going to try and pick up this dragon. Chrisberg's trying to set on the scuttle, but there is an answer here from the side of Dusty. They're going to look to try and get themselves onto this Rift Herald,
which is definitely a big asset. If you get all those plates, all that gold into the pocket of this Yorick, if you take down that tower, it makes him a definite win condition, makes there a lot of difficulty in that matchup. Right now, this is recalled. Quinstance has that Herald available. It means Wazor's really limited. If he ever leaves the lane for a significant amount of time, you will throw that Herald down instantly. That plus the
mid lane. Legion's been ganked here. But he has the flash. Waiting it out and flashes away. Takes a laser to the face. Now the teleport's coming in. Aesthetic's low, but it gets cancelled
by Wazor.
Wazor just saved Aesthetic's life, or at least his flash.
Oh, Quinstance isn't happy. He throws down the Herald. He's like,
all right, bro, let's go.
You take my teleport, I'm taking your tower. It's 3v1 now, right? It's 3v1. He has the Maiden and the Herald. This isn't fair.
It's actually going to do so much.
He didn't get the gold.
Oh, that's actually kind of big.
He wasn't in range. He didn't get the gold. That's pretty unfortunate.
I think he was dodging away on because he got caught by the Infernal Chains.
Should have flashed in to get the gold.
Yeah,
that's definitely weird.
I mean, it's like flashing for a kill. That was quite a lot of gold, though.
240, yeah.
Yeah.
Then he might well have died as well, so maybe not worth. But either way, Aesthetic is camping Legions, and this was someone I said could definitely be an avenue from which Dusty carry. He was confident enough to blind this Victor, and they've made him, to a degree, regret it. But to be honest, like, I gotta give credit. Legion's only burnt his flash. He held it so long. I managed to turn him on a ton of damage.
I'm actually so jealous of Nita right now. I don't think I've ever had this many ganks mid lane. From my jungler.
If I was your jungler, I wouldn't gank you, is all I'm saying, but...
You've been my jungler. Actually, you didn't gank me.
And did we win?
Yes.
There we go. Either way, Aesthetic, we're looking at the... Oh, Quinstance is coming in.
Yeah, Nita actually getting caught out by the gravity field. Does not have that flash like you said, but he has got the backup of Svetic and Sven.
What I hear.
The boys are back in town. The solar flare is going to land on. Hoyes throws out the ultimate. Actually, Zen goes golden for the moment. He's just going to get taken down. That's a kill onto Leona. Sosa gets himself a kill. In comes Chris Berg trying to bunt them down, but Nita does have that Lunar Rush, does have that Moonfall available. Svetic is burning low, but Sosa unable to kill anything else out here, and Nita also able to make his way out. Just going to be 2 kills picked up for Dusty. They can be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, really solid team fight. Coincidence roamed down, and honestly, Nordavind, lack of respect completely. You knew the enemy top laner was there. You knew you had a numbers disadvantage. Yes, Weizor can TP in, but that has such a long delay. By that point, Vene was already dead. It was a 4v5. Ooh. Definitely going to lose.
We're taking a lot of damage, and Svetic just ends his day. Now only gets the stun off. He's low on mana, but Sosa's coming in. A heal up from Chris Berg going to do a little bit there. Glacial Augment slow and a knock up of Svetic. This has just turned around. The game is back in his hands.
Why were you ganking mid? Just come bot. It's so free. You managed to get 2 big kills there. And Aesthetic, we've seen a lot of tank Jarvan recently. He's gone this AD build with the Warrior, and you can see the damage in that play. Weizor is able to defend the top lane tower, but it looks like in the bot side, Nordavind are gonna get the first tower gold.
Weizor does land that Infernal Chains. Actually does a fair amount of damage to Coincidence here. Doesn't have the ultimate available, so he will just end Maiden at least, but tower will go in the bot side in favor of Nordavind. Chris Berg, 1-0-3 on the center. He's starting to look pretty tanky now. Not tanky, scary, chonky, fed. There we go.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Nordavind, 2,000 gold lead above Dusty. Have that dragon advantage as well. And right now, the critical thing is flash unavailable for Legions. That's what makes it really scary. Aesthetic, I'm constantly just watching his Cataclysm timer because it seems whenever it's up, he's going to look for a play. He's giving the blue buff over to Nita here. But as soon as that Cataclysm is up, it's just so free for him to look around the map and try and find an avenue to attack. Right now, Chris Berg's actually stayed bot lane despite the tower being down. Weizor's just going to go top lane and try and hold up against the likes of Hoyes and only 35. So I think this might be a strategical play, and the reason being is they don't want Weizor up against Coincidence. Because Coincidence has shown that he's able to find pressure in that matchup. He's able to start to look to pressure the tower. In this situation, Chris Berg is able just to push Weizor away with the backing of his team. And I think another factor is that tower is so low, it's likely just to go down very soon. Only 35, looking for a play, but the Felix is pretty far away.
Yeah, gravity field, and the ulti is going to get thrown down. So it puts up the Unbreakable to block out some of that damage. Not going to get caught out by the Chaos Storm yet. Looks like Dragon is on the menu here for Nordavind.
Yeah, Dusty able to equalize in terms of towers. The gold lead still holds, and now a Dragon advantage for Nordavind. Could be a Cloud Soul.
Actually, this one's pretty nice if you're the likes of a Diana or even the Aatrox as well, because you just pop the World Ender, burst the movement speed on top of your movement speed.
For me, I feel like Mountain Soul, Infernal Soul are just always good. Ocean Soul, situationally, it's especially good on tanks or people already like Olaf.
Yeah.
Obviously, people who already have that benefit of self-heal.
Oh, Aesthetic does get followed up here. Heal comes out. There is Chris Berg putting some damage down. He's just able to take him out.
Just an overforce when you have the numbers, Legions.
Nita does have the Moonfall, and that's enough to take him out. Nita gets himself a killing spree, 3-0 on the Diana.
And Sosa, I'm just questioning what the point of that play was. He saw an opportunity. He didn't have this setup. He didn't have the coordination there. and he just decided to go for it. I think it was a really solid roam coming up from Crispig, though, to ensure he was there to turn things around. And this is why you always have to respect that Senate. It's not just the damage, it's the healing as well, which can catch you out. And right now, they're going to put Nita up against Coincidence, and I think that's probably a better matchup for them, because I think there is enough burst damage available on the Diana to potentially take out the Yorick.
I think at this point especially, because he's literally got the Phage, the Sheen, and he opted in to the Executioner's Cooling, just so he could cut the healing on Wazor, but now he's not versus Wazor.
The Ninja Tabi as well. He's itemized for the Aatrox, so by putting the Diana just to match up against him, holds it pretty well. Right now, though, 1 tower to 1, but the Herald now in the pocket for Aesthetic. Flash unavailable for Legions, Cataclysm available.
Yes.
What I expect to see is Aesthetic pass straight towards mid. As soon as he sees that Jarvan show, ult him, take him out, throw down the Herald. There you go. As the Victor shows, sorry.
This game's been a lot of small scrappings. We haven't had a full-on 5-on-5 yet, and we were talking a little bit about, you know, the 5-on-5. Who is this actually favoring here? Who do we think actually, you know, we take the we take the score off, and it's 0-0. They just go in for a team fight. Who are you favoring?
Nordavind. I think it's easy to execute. I think Dusty is going to come down to really good positioning from Legions and Hoys, keeping their backline safe. I think all Nordavind need to do is just jump on top of a carry. You even have Crispig who can follow up with his ultimate, and you've set up the team fight. Dusty do have an avenue for success in the split push from the Yorick, but Yorick isn't necessarily the best team fighter, especially compared to an Aatrox who gets those resets and can really clean up, especially off a quick initial kill. So Nordavind having this lead, having a lot of engage potential definitely favors them. We've got to see if Dusty can hold on. They do have a ton of wave clear from that Victor, which is always going to make it difficult to potentially contest this mid lane tower. That's why I'm saying I think we need to see Aesthetic look for something here. He's looking top.
Going straight in, throws the Cataclysm. That forces the flash out from only 35. Pretty much free there for Aesthetic. He doesn't lose anything.
You say that it's pretty much free, but the cost of the Cataclysm is there. It does mean he has to wait for it before he can go for aggressive plays like what he's been looking for before. I said I wanted to see him go mid for Legions, but Dusty were very focused on protecting the Victor with 3 members. So right now they're just going to have to throw down the Herald without any setup. They do have the wave, however, and I think they should be able to just take this turret down. So it worked regardless. Even with the Victor wave play, it wasn't enough to clear through the wave and the Herald.
Crispig just slips into the mist with Zen, and they're able to get their way out. It's just dealing with a lot of jungle camps here for the side of Nordavind at this point. They are denying Sosa as much as possible. You can see he's actually down quite significantly in the CS department. It's costing him a lot of experience, a lot of gold as well. If you look at comparatively, Aesthetic is a level ahead. He's got the makings of that cleaver almost finished up. While Sosa, he's just sitting on a long sword and the ruby crystal.
I don't think this is showing the experience difference. Aesthetic, one of, if not the most experienced jungler. I think arguably Sharp is the only one who really holds a candle to him in that regard in the Nordic Championship. And it shows he's had a very clear game plan from minute 1 to apply pressure to mid lane. He's kept up in farm. He's had effective pathing to ensure that he's not just ganking, he's also getting resources. And we talk about how jungle XP is limited quite a bit. Aesthetic hasn't made that apparent. He's managed to keep up pretty well. Right now, Dragon is spawning soon, so you can see Nordavind sending 4 members very aggressive to this bot side to get control. They're going to look to push in this mid lane. Remember, with mid tower down, you can go even deeper with the wave in terms of priority. So they push that in. Victor then has to catch that wave, and it means there's just no opportunity for them to contest this Dragon. It does mean, however, on the opposite side of the map, they can try and just chip away at this vision control that Nordavind, that's unlucky, that Nordavind have. They both pink air control warded. Same brush.
Up in that vision score.
That's the goal.
That's what it's all about.
That's what, whenever the game ends, you have to throw down all your wards as quick as possible. Just as you want to take the Nexus.
Well, they're able to clear out that vision, but Nordavind now uncontested on most of these Drakes. I say most of them, all of these Drakes. They've got Earth, Wind, and Fire.
And that makes things really delicate, especially with the Baron now on the table. So normally, I mean, Dusty aren't in a position where they can just say, oh, we're going to start contesting Drakes now. but normally losing 2 Drakes to the opponent isn't that big of a deal. The third one is where it gets scary, because that means Nordavind are in a position where if there's a Dragon and a Baron on the map, both are great objectives for them. But for Dusty, the Dragon is pretty worthless other than Denial, and the Baron is worth a lot. So it means Nordavind are in a much better position to sort of bargain between those, as there's 2 things they're happy to take. Whereas Dusty, if they end up trading, if they end up taking the Dragon and giving the Baron over to Nordavind, they don't really get much from that other than just denying the sword a bit longer.
Aesthetic jumps in, gets caught out by the gravity field, and the ultimate Dawning Shadow is going to come through for a shield and a heal. Only 35 makes his way out. Wiseau uses the ultimate. That's going to be the Moonlight Vigil already used. It's a 1-for-1 fight so far. Glacial Fisher knocks onto 1 and 2 kills for Nordavind. Dusty are spent packing.
And that could have gone in the favor of Dusty, but Quinstance did not join the fight. 4 members pushing strong.
Oh, they slow him down, Legions!
He's down.
Oh my lord, Chrisberg just blew him up!
He first picked this champion. He had the confidence, he wanted it, and it's showing up here. So aggressive, and it pays off. And now Nita, he's TP to defend bot. Quinstance has to back away.
Yeah, Coincidence is, you know, he's a strong split pusher, but he's not able to split push fast enough. Weisel's done a good job of holding these waves. Nita with a TP as well means his options to actually push in these cases just aren't quite enough.
Key differential here though now, TP is being used by Weizor and Nita here.
Yes.
There's still a TP advantage for Quinstance. This does mean
and
that...
Legions.
Well, yeah, but I don't think
he's not really a champion at the moment.
I mean, he's a champion, but he's a wave clear bot. I think is the bigger factor. Although he did do a ton of damage there, the stopwatch really kept Aesthetic alive. And I think you have to be really cautious. If you go for this Baron against Dusty and they can stall you, Quinstance will be a massive issue in the side lane. If you send Weizor down to answer, there's the vulnerability that they could TP. So it means Nordavind, they're not on the back foot by any means. They're still very much ahead. But for the next few minutes, things may well be a bit slower pace. There's no Dragon for them to contest. The Baron is risky with a TP disadvantage. And they're still concerned about that side lane thresh. But it looks like Quinstance actually going towards the top side. It looks like they're trying to find a pick on Weizor, which does leave that Baron as an open avenue. But right now, Quinstance, it looks like he's in trouble on the top side.
Well, it's actually able to turn it around. It looked like Weizor was the one who's also getting caught out. His people were collapsing on him, but he's also able to make his way out. It's the grand escape.
It's a new game. Bully the top laner. Well, it's not new by any means. But both teams trying to put a bit of punishment down there.
Only jumps in. Sosa gets himself the kickoff. Does land the Q as well. The Moonlight Vigil is just going to burst him out. They do try to turn it around with that Dawning Shadow. In comes Nita, though. Only gets himself out of there as Coincidence barrels towards the team. Did burn his teleport.
Yeah, that TP advantage I was talking about, no longer a factor. So if Nordavind do go for a heavy play around the top side, they know Quinstance won't be able to just push through the bot lane and then join with the teleport. Quinstance either needs to be there or he needs to commit to the split push. And if he commits to the split push, Nordavind can just take the Baron. But more importantly, you've seen that timer shot for the 4th Dragon. Dusty can't really afford to give this one up. Again, it is a Cloud Soul. It's powerful. Definitely, all the souls are pretty powerful. But I don't think it's as bad as, say, an Infernal. But just, I mean, you really do not want to have to give this one up. But at this point, it's so hard to contest these team fights. GA just picked up by Aesthetic. He's going to be able to keep diving, doing a ton of damage, and then regenerate. You have a Zhonya's on Nita, so he's going to be hard to punish. There is now the Edge of Night for Chrisberg. So if you try and engage on him with your CC, it's so difficult.
My eyes really are going to be on Legions and on Hoys. If Legions can put a good Chaos Storm down, and if Hoys obviously he's got the Hurricane and the Essence Reaver, can just lay down that AoE damage, get a good ultimate down. It might be enough, but it's going to be rough here.
I think this is where the fight wants to come out from Dusty. If they can get Nordavind to chase them into their own jungle, they can use the choke points effectively.
Well, the jump
great kick.
actually goes in. Full combo onto Chrisberg.
They got him.
He's shut down already. The Chaos Storm is going to pin people in place, and the fight is breaking out on all
They're
fronts.
winning.
But for the moment, Dusty are just coming out ahead. The Zenith Blade connects on. Aesthetic still has GA, though. You can see for the Lunar Rush has already been burst by Niter, and the Cloud Drake is just going to be picked up by Dusty. That was the time they needed a fight, and they make it happen. Only is burning down, and Aesthetic gets him. The GA is going to proc the Chaos Storm, and everything is layered on top. Another kill for Dusty, and they are just back in the game.
And what a play from Sosa, the 0-5 Lee Sin, who just looked like he was outclassed by Aesthetic, but he finds a perfect kick on a Chrisberg, manages to turn it around, find the team fight off the back of it. And that Victor, you said he wasn't a champion, he has started to do a lot of damage now, and they're going to take the Baron here. Knight is coming over to contest. 5k, no smite available, but Knight might be able to kill Sosa.
Chrisberg has ultimate as well. They try to contest it, but that is just going to be a nice and easy pickup. You can put up the wall of pain to make sure no one else can close in. Do cancel out on Coincidence's base there. Field is going to slow them up. Coincidence.
Use your flash, Coincidence.
He has to flash the wall.
He did not use it.
Yeah, he was really fighting that off there.
Just a great play from Dusty. I was ready to write this game off. There's a 5,000 gold lead. Nordavind were ready to get that Dragon Soul. They had control. They set up there. But it was just a great kick from Sosa. And then the team fight went so well. Legions held off so many members single-handedly with the control on this Victor. And then the Blast Cone to disengage from Niter just came in beautifully. The fight was split. There was no real backline access from Nordavind. And despite me saying how safe the center should be with the Edge of Night, Chrisberg got picked.
Yeah, Chrisberg just caught out. Wasn't prepared for it. And that has cost them both the Cloud Soul, potentially for them. Obviously, they can still get the next one. Dusty have a long way to go before they're even looking at their own soul. But it does also crucially cost the Baron. And that puts a big stall on this game because Dusty, even after that team fight, are still down in gold. But that gold lead is shrinking here.
The big thing I got to take note of is where the goal differential is. Because there's obviously advantages in the jungle towards Aesthetic. But the big thing is, look top lane, where there's nearly a flame horizon between Coincidence and Wazel. There's a 2-level lead. This Yorick is going to be...
He goes in! Little rush onto 3! Instant Zonius, the Dawning Shadow comes down. That's going to be Aesthetic jumping into the backline. Remember, he doesn't have GA. Wazel trying to run interruption on the sideline. But 2 kills have already been picked up for Dusty. Chrisberg is lighting up the fight! That's a double kill for Wazel! That's a double kill for Chrisberg! And that's the full ace for the side of... I've forgotten names.
I mean, it's not the full ace either, because Coincidence is still up. Either way, Nordavind take a huge fight. They instantly engage, and despite the fact that Hoyes has a great stopwatch, Aesthetic was just beating down on the Victor, and Chrisberg, as you said, him and Wazel came with a huge cleanup. But unfortunately, despite that, Yorick doesn't care. You win the team fight, I'm still taking Inhibitor.
These objectives right now. It's got Maiden. Kitty Cat Maiden will get taken out here by Wazel. The Wall of Pain, not going to slow him down.
Close to getting the Inhibitor, but did not quite get it.
Fantastic team fighting there from Nordavind to pull this back from a pretty detrimental spot, but crucially, Dusty have taken down that top lane Inhibitor turret. The Inhibitor stands, but it is now exposed.
And I think that's the difference in when Nordavind find access to Dusty's backline. You know, in the previous fight, we saw Chrisberg instantly picked, and then we saw Dusty able to kite away on behalf of their Victor and their failures. But there, Nordavind instantly made things difficult for Hoyes. Yes, he had a great stopwatch, but it was not enough to keep him safe. And it meant that he was caught in a flurry with the front line of Nordavind, as was Legions. And then Chrisberg and Wazel were just there to clear up. And I think it shows how the team fights can vary. It comes down to the execution. It comes down to who is punishing the other's carries. And most importantly for Dusty, the likes of their Victor and their Aphelios, they need space if they're going to be successful.
All right, well, this Cloud Drake is going to be spawning up nice and soon, and we'll see Nordavind try and get their hands on that soul this time. But let's take stock of the summoner spells here, because a lot was burnt by Dusty in that last fight. And actually, Nordavind didn't burn all that much.
Their Diana and, more importantly, their Senna still have flashes. Legion's flashes down. Hoyes has his, as does only 35. So potential great Leona engage could come out. poised, he's able to get himself to safety, but Legions, he has to be playing completely on point if he wants to be successful here. He has picked up a stopwatch, as has Sosa on the Lee Sin, so there is that extra option to get themselves on a dodge. But right now, Nordavind aggressively playing for this mid priority so they can rotate in through. But right now, they need to deal with Coincidence.
Yeah, they're looking to jump in. That's going to be the Lunar Fall coming down. Nita is just getting beaten up by the fighter. The Wall of Pain will time out. Tries to Lunar Rush away one more time. Getting knocked up. The Wall of Pain gets put up again. Coincidence is such an animal right now. He's going to take the inhibitor. Topside. Meanwhile, the Drake is going to be taken down by the side of Dusty as well. They deny that from Nordavind.
They could not fight it because they sent 2 members. And Crispig as well. They sent 3 members. I do think Coincidence now will go down to the Perma slows. No, he's away! The cage!
He has so much cooldown reduction.
He put Crispig in the cage and he just walked away, and Dusty are just taking control of this game. The numbers advantage at the Dragon meant that Aesthetic had to try going for a steal. He failed, he goes down, and now 4 members strong. They're just hammering away at this tower.
Yeah, they are going to be able to pull their way through. Crispig does a lot of damage. That's going to be the Glacial Fissure. Nita uses that Moonfall, able to find himself an instant kill onto Legion. That's going to be the ultimate coming down from Hoyes already, though. It's a massive turnaround from the side of Dusty. In comes the Frank, though. Wazor is looking for one. That's going to be one picked up by Crispig on the backline. Coincidence is just melting through him. Look at those goals. They take him down. Wazor now has to deal with a maiden with goals with Coincidence. He does have a Svetic at his back, but I don't think Svetic's going to offer him much here. Coincidence, 1 versus 2, is looking to dive the tower here. Sosa slides in. Coincidence gets the shutdown, and Dusty come up massive in the team fight.
This Yorick is a monster. Coincidence just running over everyone, and Crispig, he looked like he was going to pop off in that fight. He gets trapped in the cage.
It's the Death Dance, man. It makes him so hard to cut down.
He's just so tanky, and he's just so much damage. But Crispig, I think of all the 80 carries, I mean, maybe Jin is the only one comparable. Getting stuck inside that cage from the Yorick and having to auto through to kill it, it's just so awful when your autos are so slow. And right now, Baron up, mid and top lane inhibitor down, and critically Dusty now with the gold lead.
They have pulled this game back from the depths of despair, and it's on the back of the Yorick. Catman Coincidence is just doing so much work for his team. That's Baron Nashor picked up for the 2nd time for Dusty. And we were 10 minutes ago looking at this being a Cloud Soul here.
And it's been on a knife's edge. One team fight for Nordavind into Baron could have been the game. One Cloud Drake could have again been the game. But Dusty, they've played with fire. They've managed to team fight so well, keeping the carries. I mean, it's not even been safe. They've gone down, but they've just kept forcing Nordavind to invest so much to take them down. And Coincidence on this Yorick, I mean, this was a really intelligent pick. It's done so well in the laning phase and the Aatrox, and now it's just, there's no one on the side of Nordavind who can really deal with him. The sustained damage is not there from the Senate, and the rest of them just do not have the DPS to cut through him. Right now, he's setting up in the top lane. If they leave just Wazor there, I mean, that's just making it worse. The GA you just pointed to, if they leave just Wazor there, he's essentially going to take the base. And you can see already his Vene's recalling. They have to give up this tower. There's no way they can leave Aatrox alone.
The problem is that's a Baroned up team as well, so giving up this tower could spell more for them. Coincidence is playing this fantastically, just steps away as soon as people go missing. Tower's going to go down in the bot side. Now they're looking for another inhibitor tower. Crispig doing his best to clear it out, but again, that slow attack speed versus quite tanky minions makes it even harder. The cannon, they're not going to be able to do too much about here, and it's just going to have to free fire away. 2 waves of super minions is pulling everybody around the map here.
I mean, it's the cage. The cage is so difficult because normally you want your 80 carry with a ton of attack speed just to hammer through it so you can escape, but no one really can do so other than, I guess, the Jarvan. And this Yorick is just forcing 3 members to move up to respond to him.
Look at the damage he does as well there. Wazor trying to do something to cut down the maiden there, but now Dusty have taken their 3rd inhibitor of the game. I think mid lane looks like it's maybe spawning up soon. No, it's not. They were just pinging to sort the wave out. So it looks like for the moment, The Dusty playing it slow. They've got the Baron. They've got all the waves pushing in their favor. And they're just going to look to try and slowly push this turret. That's going to be the engage. The solar flare lands onto 2 already. Hoist gets jumped onto the back line. You do see the ultimate by Crispo trying to poke some damage out, but the Nexus has been exposed already. Niter is jumping in, and Legion's getting taken down, but no! Legion takes him out, throws out a laser for the moment, and they're going to get themselves a massive shutdown onto Niter. The Nexus is still exposed, but Sosa also able to slide in and shut down another member. Dusty have 1 member left.
That was so close. Wazor coming out clutch, shuts down Hoist, forces Legions back. That could have been the game in favor of Dusty, but Nordavind managed to hold on. However, aesthetic going down means Dusty can pick up the 3rd dragon. Dragon's Soul for both is on the card with the next one.
We were 2 Drakes away for Nordavind from them getting the Elder Dragon.
We were 1 Drake away, and
they just needed to get that soul. Then the Elder could spawn.
1 Drake away for the past 15 minutes,
and they have been in such a rough spot. Chris Berg did so much work early. Niter is doing so much damage, but it just means nothing to Coincidence. Now, he has lost the GA. 1,000 gold shutdown went into the pocket of Niter, and you look at the items he's got now, the Void Stars, the Nashers, the Zonyas, the Death Cap. Looking to maybe pick up 1 last item here.
Boost just got sold by Chrisberg. He picked up a static shiv. He's going to be well over
wave clear.
He's going to be well over 100% crit by now. Because obviously getting it from his passive as well. He's at 125 stacks. So he's going to be getting extra lifesteal for that 489 AD. He does so much damage if he can hit the right targets. But for now, they're sort of trapped in their base because of the super minions pushing in. The top lane inhibitor has respawned, but they have to be so concerned about a backdoor. TP coming up soon, and actually if you look at the bottom of the map, there's a ward placed down.
There is
Pain
a ward.
Came out, TP coming up.
Oh, baby.
Coincidence could go for the back door here, although I think he's just going through the front door right now.
Well, technically it's the back door, but Boyzor just trying to play bouncer here for the moment, but Chrisberg, you can see, is doing a little bit of damage, but they are going to unfortunately lose their Nexus. Niter flashes forward, uses the Lunar Rush. That's going to be the ultimate coming down. The Dawning Shadow, a 3-man knockup into the Cataclysm, pinning everybody in place. It's still a 2
Wait, Coincidence
fight, but Coincidence is on the Nexus. He's looking to end the game. They're getting the CC. Flashes. No, he can't close it yet. And Niter is still alive. Somehow they hold on to this game. Somehow Dusty are unable to close it.
What an engage coming out from Niter. Gets both the carries and does so much initial damage to them. The burst available from the Diana was huge, and now they're TPing in. They're looking potentially for the end. There's 20 seconds on the support, 30 seconds on the next member. They might actually just be able to do this.
This could just be the close. We'll have to see. They're onto the towers already. You can see Wazor tanking that tower to keep this minion wave alive. On to the inhibitor here.
It's
39
so
minutes on the clock. They are crippling through these towers right now. Double members tanking it. Tower number 1's going to go down. Tower number 2's going to go down. Somehow they turn it around. Dusty lose the game. 39 minutes on the clock, and that was a slugfest.
Nah, clean 1-0. Clean 1-0 from Nordavind. Not quite clean. That was intense. I gotta give a lot of credit to Coincidence. He made that game hard, and the Yorick pick coming out last was really effective. And they saw victory in front of them. They saw the victory, they saw the goal, and they just overcommitted.
So close.
Yeah, I think if they played it a little bit slower, I think there was potential that they could have taken that. I think there was no massive pressure for them to push in to contest the Nexus. And I think the main thing was they just did not expect Niter to go for such an insane play because he was alone. The rest of his team were further back, potentially dealing with Yorick. And he just went, I'm 1v4, I'm going for the big play. And it worked. I think that's the concern when you're playing those immobile carries in the later stages. One combo can be enough to take you out.
I do need to note, though, the Nordavind had this game in the bag at like 25, 23 minutes. It was like, this is done. And first of all, big props to Dusty to be able to turn that game around, get one away from getting the soul when they had zero
Still
breaks.
no soul. Still no soul.
As the map spawn, yeah, actually in the Nordic Champions, no souls. But massive props to Dusty. And actually, I really want to keep my eye on this team now because they have really impressed me. We've been able to pull that game back from how far behind they fell. Nordavind, fantastic job to turn that around, but there are now questions being raised. How did that game get that out of hand?
Yeah, I mean, there was I mean, it was great plays from Dusty, but I think some of the issues I've seen was just Crispig can be a little aggressive. This is something I've seen from him over a long period of time, going a bit too far forwards. Him getting kicked by the Lee Sin was what cost them that fight, which led into the Baron. I think on top of that, it was just a little bit of misallocation when dealing with the Yorick. It was clear that when up against a strong split pusher, they were a bit unsure of what to do. And then some of the engages did feel a bit overforced. Overall, I think we have to take into account this is a Nordavind without their main roster support.
Yes.
Advienne isn't here. And hopefully, if he is able to watch this game, he's going to think, wow, I'm glad I wasn't involved in that.
But then again, you don't know the roles they play within the team. And I think could be offering a lot more of the shot calling, and maybe it just got a little messy, and that's how the game slipped out of their hands. We don't know, unfortunately, but good win. It was a bit longer than it probably needed to be.
Yeah,
but
no kidding.
we've seen a lot from both of these teams. So I'm excited to see what we've got coming forward from both Dusty and Nordavind. And with that, we're going to cut ourselves to a quick break, and we'll be back with game 3 of the day. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a second.